absolutely nonpartisan, as everyone knows, and literally savage George W. Bush up one side and down the other 24/7 for 8 years. And the fact that things just got worse under Obama is part of the larger ongoing process of evil and the elites getting away with anything you can imagine. But when you talk about the Democrats and the Clintons and what Obama's doing, it is 5 orders of magnitude of what Bush and the Republicans ever did. It makes Richard Nixon, who was terrible in many respects, and who I would have supported impeachment of if he wouldn't have resigned, look like an angel. I mean, you study the yardstick of real politique and look at Hillary and what they do. These are gangster, vicious, evil people who openly are arming al-Qaeda to take over Iraq and Islamification of the entire country and murdering every Christian they find. They've done the same thing in Syria, Libya, and folks, they're funding it. It's all over the foreign news. Total fact they're doing that. Total fact they staged Fast and Furious, killed thousands to blame the Second Amendment. That came out, CBS News and Memos. To list their crimes takes hours. They want this country bankrupted and controlled because all of their interest, the corporate interests that fund them, like General Electric, who's exempt from the carbon tax, go read it, Obama signed an order, they're taking over. No one else can operate but them. And the entire establishment that's left that isn't homicidal or insane better line up against these people. That's why the Republican leadership is going after the Tea Party right now. And the Tea Party is having a lot of victories, but it needs more. That's why the Tea Party, it's dead. No, they're losing because they're winning so many elections. It's another hoax, like saying NAFTA and GATT would be great. Or saying Obamacare would cut your price in half or less down to the of a bill, like your phone bill. Total lies. Or you could keep your doctor. Or I promise I won't come after any of your guns. It's all lies. I won't hire lobbyists. I won't sign the NDAA. Signed it. I mean, it's pure lying. And then running around like there's some type of liberals because they're for, quote, gay marriage or something. Just a political football. David Knight's with us into the next hour from the border. We're going to have our reporters, our intrepid reporters. Wild horses couldn't drag them away. I told Kit, I said, listen, you don't have to go back down to the border. You've just been working all week. He goes, I want to go. So Kit and Rob Jacobson are down there at the border where they're telling reporters they can't videotape on city streets the Border Patrol loading illegals on buses and shipping them in and giving them tickets. We have this on video and the emergency manager of the city admitting it to us. Huge scandal. Only picked up by a few papers after DrudgeReport.com linked to our video and all of it. The quotes, living color, all of it happening. Not just the emergency manager saying it, it shows it. I mean, the magnitude, if you got caught doing that, it's 10 years in jail, human trafficking, each person. You bring children into it, oh my God. I mean, this is effectively kidnapping because no one even knows where these kids are coming from. Now it's a flood of babies on the buses. And the flood's only going to accelerate, and I believe it's the false flag. So David will be with us 30 minutes or so in the next hour. Kit's going to be joining us as well from the border. Live video feed. If you're a radio listener, you can always go as well. Later, we archive it at prisonplanet.tv. You can also watch a live feed at Infowars.com/show. I want to get into the Hillary thing in the next segment. And, you and Kit going to ask her questions Friday. But first, I want to talk about what we're going to get to after that, this chilling audio of her laughing about how she got child rapist off. And I heard this audio today and literally was horrified for my family. Yeah. Because when you hear the enjoyment of getting an evil person off, and you hear, I mean, it's just, but then that's liberal. I mean, you could have the 13-year-old having its head chopped off, and feminists would roll in the blood if Hillary said it was trendy. I mean, these are just monsters who just want to have the moral high ground.
It was amazingly cold. This is a lady who is now 52 years old. She was 13 at the time she was raped. And in 2008, when Hillary Clinton was running, she had one brief thing with a reporter that was very contentious. She'd never said anything else about it. But now a tape has surfaced where Hillary is talking to somebody about her past legal experiences. And she's saying things like, I got this guy off. He actually passed a polygraph test. It destroyed my confidence in polygraph tests forever. Ha, ha, ha. She talks about what he did. She talks about the fact that she got him off in a technicality in the sense that they did the tests on his underwear, the test for blood and semen. It was positive. negative, but because they cut a hole in it and they lost that hole or whatever, she got it thrown out. So she's laughing about this, covering for this pedophile rapist. You know, she's covered for...
Because it later was confirmed.
Yes, she's covered for these rapists her entire life. And now...
Well, her husband is a hardcore rapist.
Yeah, yeah.
He's an expert rapist.
So now she wants...
In the settled cases, he bites the women with blood dripping, holding them down, biting their lips while he rapes them.
Well, this young girl was left infertile. It was not just a rape. It was very brutal. And so
it was a torture rape.
Yeah, we're going to be hearing more about that. But that's just the amazing thing. It's the character.
Well, listen, you're not a good feminist. I mean, whatever Hillary does, it's good.
They're going to have a hard time demonizing this 13-year-old girl like they did the other women who came forward. They all just dismiss them as one bimbo slut after the other and attack them individually. They're going to have a hard time doing this with a 13-year-old girl. And now that they've got this tape of Hillary, that's pretty amazing. When you hear that, it's very chilling.
Why are you being racist?
No, I tell you what, it's just, you know, the sad thing too, Alex, you were talking about people waking up. I spent more time in that line with people who were hardcore Hillary and Obama supporters. And they were talking, you know, at one point there's a little girl looking through a book and she sees something about some woman that was labeled as a murder or whatever. This other lady says, well, remember, they're innocent until proven guilty. They have some of the right core values. It's just that they are so into this club of the Democrats or the Republicans. They're following these people because of their identity, whether they're black or they're a woman or whatever.
Well, it's mindless. It's mindless jingoism. It's just, I mean, if you know who Hillary is, she's a black op commander, CIA, from college on record, total forms of evil, narcotics trafficking at MENA. I've interviewed the multiple pilots, kids being killed that saw it going on, just every form of criminal operation. These are master criminals.
They'll dismiss that because she's part of that club. Or she's the identity that they want to identify with. And I've seen that with Republicans as well. They'll, you know, march in lockstep behind a guy who's a pastor, but he wants to start wars all over the place. You know, it's just they get into this club of being in the Republicans or the Democrats. That becomes a big deal to them. It's like supporting their college team or something. And I see just the opposite. When I was involved in the Libertarian Party, they were so much against the cult of personality that they would go down and analyze everybody's positions with a fine-tooth comb. If they disagreed with them on one issue, they'd throw the guy out. And that's why they don't win anything. But you know, you got to...
No, I agree. But listen, I've always attacked the Republicans because they're a bunch of blue blood scum. Chris Christie, the rest of them. But I mean, I've studied politics. I've studied history. I mean, it's been a hobby. And this is beginning to really reach Caligula level.
Oh, yeah.
No one's ever put up with a government paying for the homeless kids to come here and causing a mass flood and letting...
Banana Republic. They break the law, openly break the law, and then as you're talking about, they don't allow people to take photographs of the laws being broken down at the border. If you expose their criminal actions as a whistleblower, you are now the criminal. We see this all the time. Every time we go to talk to somebody anymore, we have to go in covertly because they won't have an upfront discussion with you. They want you to repeat what they have to say. We want to report what's going on.
And by the way, you notice now, finally the press corps is figuring this out, the dinosaur media, but it's too late. You know, the media are already hit. You know, they're already dying. They're already losing their jobs. It's over. You know, Drudge told them in '99 in his speech, or it was even earlier, you know, in a decade, you're all going to be losing your jobs. They all laughed. They still are a little bit arrogant, but they don't seem to understand that, or they're just starting to, that now they're getting rid of the press conferences altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, why? They'll just have the news network repeat whatever they said. You don't even need to be there. The prop of having that reporter there to act like they were asking questions. I learned this years ago. The New York Times would just call me up, or you name it, just to do an interview to act like they talked to me, to then twist what I said. So it got to where now they call up and I just go, no, I don't want to talk to GQ. And they go, we're GQ. And I go piss up a rope, man. I don't want to talk to you. Go to hell. And I hang the phone up. We'll be right back. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
Hey, now you can watch the Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
The emergency manager of McAllen, Texas, saying that over 90% of the illegals that come in are on buses, families, kids, babies, you name it. The Border Patrol, who's said that they're filling the formula and heating the formula and changing diapers as their new jobs. The head of the Border Patrol union said that a week and a half ago. So we're not demonizing the Border Patrol individually, but it doesn't matter because they're following orders. So we don't individually, we're not mad at them. We know they're being destroyed. A lot of them are quitting. We broke that news story with an ICE agent that talked to us, and that became a national news story last week with our reporters down on the border. And just every day new stuff breaks, but he said, no, about 90+%. We're going to play the audio and the video, if you're a TV viewer, have been given vouchers to go wherever they want in the country. They're illegals. They just bus them, quote, to their families that live in the, quote, interior. And again, that's completely illegal, and they're just doing it and telling Breitbart and InfoWars, hey, you can't be here. You're standing there in McAllen or in Brownsville on the side of the street where the big bridge is, and there's people wandering around with bags and selling oranges 100 yards away. They come over and see that you're an American press with a flag on your microphone, and they say, get out of here.
And they know that they're breaking the law. They don't want it documented. It's just like when a cop is doing something wrong, he doesn't want you to take his picture and get in your face. That's what's happening everywhere. They don't want anybody to see what they're doing, even though they're doing it in broad daylight and taking down the facade.
Well, the press has to stand up against this, not just the dying dinosaur press, but the general public has to realize that get a camera, get a microphone. You can get it for like $300. Go down to the border or whatever your issue is, cover it, put it on YouTube. It will become news. And more people are doing that and totally destroying the dinosaur press that won't do their job. We're filling that vacuum. And sure, I came along in one of the earlier waves of new media, and I'm now long in the tooth at this and more professional. But people didn't tune in because I was professional. They tuned in because it was real, and they kept seeing what I talked about come true.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to shut that down, though. They've got, Apple had patents for that back in 2008 to be able to selectively shut down a phone or all the phones in a particular area.
And now all droids will have it where the police hit one button and everything turns off.
That's right.
Remote control access.
That's right.
Beyond the NSA.
Yeah. So, but you'll still be able to do it if you get a purpose-built small phone, if they still, camera, if they still sell those, or GoPro or something like that.
But again, it's designed to shut down human communication.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It shows, and they're just doing it. Listen, last week it was in the news. Obama met with the chiefs of police, and it was, closed doors, and then several articles about it. And it reportedly said, don't tell the public what we've got, and then we're listening to everything. The average cop doesn't know that. It's higher up. I mean, this is the end of everything, especially because crooks are running it all.
That's right. But it also is a policy that starts at the very top, just like we see with Hillary Clinton. She's saying that people who have viewpoints are terrorizing other people when it comes to the Second Amendment. So your opinion, your First Amendment rights are now terrorizing people, and that's just one step away from what Harry Reid said when he started calling people terrorists. And we ought to take that seriously, because these are the people who are coming up with these draconian measures, suspending the rule of law.
Absolutely.
Look, they haven't dropped the hammer yet, but they're putting the framework in. They're using the rhetoric. They're about to do it.
They're about to really go into high gear, but they've already been implementing things that are just unheard of.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can see they're committed. And the way Hillary looked at you with pure hate. There's a still shot of it up on Infowars.com. People got to go see the image in the article titled Hillary Clinton Attacks Drudge and Second Amendment in Texas Visit. I mean, she gave you a go-to Hades look.
Yeah, well, the thing is, she's saying that you can't intimidate people. And yet, Does she think that it's intimidating people to call them terrorists? I mean, that's essentially what she's doing. She's trying to shut that down. Our rights don't rest on whether or not the majority of people like them. They don't have the authority. The majority of people do not have the authority to take away our rights. Neither do the courts or the legislature.
That's right. In a republic, if 51% say make black people slaves again, no, you can't, because it's against the Bill of Rights.
That's right. So legally, they would have to change the Constitution. They don't want to do that. They don't want to go through the process that the Constitution says you have to go through to change the Constitution. And they want to enact, even if they were to do that, it would still be...
Well, notice, they're doing all this just by fiat criminal operation. There's not even documents that they're, giving them vouchers until we dug them up. Mm-hmm. And then, we're talking to the emergency manager, and he goes, I don't know the authority. It's just we're here, and now the Border Patrol ships illegals in, gives them food, and pays to ship them to be dropped off on street corners, wherever they ask.
Well, the former Border Patrol union said that this is a deliberate policy. It's orchestrated for political purposes. We know
Of course it is.
It's the Cloward and Piven thing, as you said all along, and it's also a way for Obama to speed up and accelerate his youth corps. They already had the FEMA Youth Corps. If the government raises these kids and treats them like royalty, as we see them doing already, they're treating them better than they do them.
And by the way, that's the target age, 14.
That's right. They grab these kids. They treat them great. Now these kids have this unswerving, undying loyalty to the government.
And they're not even Americans.
That's right.
This is a classic takeover.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a perfect way.
I mean, this is a rerun of like hundreds of other tyrannies I've studied, all mixed together. And you find out, oh, they hired the former head of the Stasi, Marcus Wolf, paid him $1.1 million for 2 years before he died in 2003 to help set up the current Homeland Security. And again, that was bipartisan.
Well, it was William Binney, who was one of the first NSA whistleblowers, the highest ranking whistleblower. He was technical head with global responsibilities. And he said on this program, they're essentially doing the same thing in this country that he saw happening in East Germany and Russia. When he was working there, he was monitoring these foreign countries. Now he says they're taking all that and bringing it in. And that was...
Oh, yeah. Listen, I told you. Yeah. My dad said, hey, I think Homeland Security's trying to set us up. They came in and said they want me to spy on all my patients before he retired last year. And I said, no, Dad, they're doing it with most physicians. I said, go check with other doctors. And he went, wow, almost all of the senior ones have been visited either at their offices or at home, in some cases by FBI, you name it, or sometimes by auxiliary groups of basically the Democratic Party. So, see, they're merging it. Once they get these auxiliary agents that are party officials, it's outside of the FBI, outside the police. That's what the Youth Corps is. Mm-hmm. We need a domestic security force just as big, just as strong as our military. Close quote, Obama 2008 during the campaign. They're just doing it by fiat.
Right.
They're just moving ahead. It's unbelievable. How do you think they're going to try to get away with it? I want to play these clips of Hillary, basically saying free speech is now terrorism.
Well, they're just coming out with it to a greater extent and not backing off when it's discovered. Look at the IRS scandal, for example. Nixon was accused of doing that. It was one of the key articles of his impeachment, others being the fact that he refused to give information to the Congress when it was investigating him. And yet they do it now to a far greater extent. And then when somebody calls them on it, they just push back and say, do something about it. We're not gonna comply. We're not going to be ashamed of the fact that we broke the law. When they get caught, they don't care. So it's just like when you see police brutalizing people, they're being encouraged to do that by the federal government. Nothing ever happens.
The message is sent. Keep doing that.
Exactly.
Just in case you think we're making this up, here is Hillary on CNN following the script. It's not just her saying it, that speech is terrorizing people, that we're defending the right to have guns. Why, that's just causing an epidemic of shootings when they're down 52% in their own numbers. Right. I mean, they know, Justice Department knows, since 92, shootings are down 52%. They know that. They know mass shootings are flat, but they put the lie out. Here is Hillary on the Communist News Network.
We cannot let a minority of people, and that's what it is.
Really,
it
Second Amendment's majority.
Of people, right. Hold a viewpoint that terrorizes the majority.
They can't let us hold a viewpoint.
That's right.
Remember, the governor of New York said, if you're pro-gun or pro-life, get out of the state. And he was like, no, I'm serious. Get out. Well, that sounds real liberal. Do what we say. We can't allow you to have a view. What the
Bill of Rights was set up to protect the smallest minority, that is, the individual. It was set there to make sure that we have the right...
Because there's always special interest that overpower the individual. So this was set up for individuals.
Exactly. And these are rights that we already had. They're just recognized and said to the government, you will not...
But plus, she's lying. Congress has a 7% approval rating in the latest Gallup poll.
That's true.
They have no legitimacy.
That's right.
Except for a handful of the political class.
That's right. So, you know, it's just amazing that they would do this. But people need to understand, people on the left need to understand that the same people that are going to deny rights in one area are going to deny them everywhere. They're going to say you don't have any Fifth Amendment rights, you don't have any Fifth Amendment rights, you don't have any First Amendment rights. And that's what...
Well, look at how the Republican and Democratic leadership are in lockstep when it comes to NSA, police state, the billions of bullets, training for war. But again, why have I totally endorsed the real Tea Party now? The Republicans couldn't take it over. The leadership's trying to kill it. The Democrats are coming after it. All the big trade federations are coming after it, trying to strangle it, because it is the only venue of revolution in this country right now. We have to put the full energy behind it now.
You are watching the best of The Alex Jones Show, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Watch live at Infowars.com/show or become a member of InfoWarsNews.com and help us take resistance to the next level.